Hi everybody, Mittierim here with another just fun little Paintisode. Joining me this time for at least an hour or so of painting is Skip the Warhammer Geek
Hey, everybody.
and my wife Alicia Merritt.
Hey,
Uh, so we are just going to be painting and chatting about random stuff. If you happen to be watching this, if you have any questions, I am keeping an eye on the comments. So feel free to let those fly if you have any questions. Other than that, I think we're just going to kind of chat and see where it goes. I'm hoping for at least an hour, maybe a little more, and we'll kind of go from there. So, first things first, what is everybody working on tonight?
building dire
Hi.
wolves.
Dire wolves.
Yeah, Alicia finished her last commission for Anthony, minus the sort of final pictures and getting him his approval, but he's been approving all the way along this so far. So those will probably be in the mail Monday. So now she's working on her next project for Skaven and AZ.
Awesome.
And my husband loves name dropping.
Yep. It's not like nobody is aware of the fact that that Anthony has been getting you to do his stuff since he's mentioned it in at least 2 videos. And everybody knows that Skaven and AZ gets all his stuff painted. So, no worries there. So what about you, Skip? What's on the old plate tonight?
I am working on my shades for my dark elves, so
That's cool.
I can actually field a unit of them, because I don't want to field them the way that they are right now.
Understandable. How many are you
Or I,
trying to get done up?
10.
Not bad. Not bad at all. Gotten any done yet, or just where are you at in the process?
Got the test one done, so now I can move on and paint the rest of them like it. I'm very happy how it came out.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, that's cool.
yeah.
I am working on the first of my Christmas presents. I made off like a bandit from the hobby world for Christmas this year, and so the first thing I am starting with is a box of Vargeists for my Vampire Counts army, and I'm actually using some techniques that Victor Case did in his last tutorial video that I thought was very helpful and very different from how I normally do things. So I figured, why not give it a try and see how it turns out? Because I like the effect he got on admittedly a much smaller model,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm hoping that I can pull off the same technique on a larger model since I've got more room to mess with it. So we'll have to see how that goes. Um, so how was everybody's Christmas?
Pretty good. Kind
Make
of
out
small.
much? Oh yeah.
Yeah. With
Well, given how everything in your life's been going lately, small and uneventful are probably good.
exactly. But I got a challenging model to paint once I get done with these, so courtesy
Oh,
of life, yeah. I am going to attempt to do the Charybdis.
very nice.
Yeah.
That is one big ugly mug.
It is. I thought about doing an Hydra, but I'm like, no, I want to continue with my Mariner theme, so I'm going to go with the Charybdis.
Excellent choice. And as I alluded to earlier, I made off like an absolute bandit in terms of hobby stuff. The Vargeists are only sort of the first of many models. I got the Empire Griffin Rider. I got 2 boxes of Flamers. I got the Imperial Maneater kit. I got a 40k Tyrannid Pyrovore, which I'm planning to convert into a Hell Cannon for my Warriors of Chaos. I got a Pegasus, so I can cap on Pegasus. Just a lot of stuff. So, and I also got finally the Triumph and Treachery book, which looks pretty freaking amazing. Actually, I'm really kind of chomping at the bit to get an opportunity to play a Triumph and Treachery game. So,
aren't there several different scenarios in that book?
There are. I figure for our first one, we're already talking about trying to get a trial in on Tuesday. So there's a very basic one where it's basically kind of the standard Triumph and Treachery game with extra points for kind of getting into the middle of the board and mixing it up, as it definitely rewards you for playing actively and not just kind of sitting there and letting your other opponents kind of beat each other to death. So it's very cool.
Have you thought about what you're going to field?
I'm actually, depending upon if I can get these Vargeists done before Tuesday, I might do vampire counts.
Sweet.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to take the up to 300 points of mercenaries that we'll get, but I'm not entirely sure what army that's from, since it has to be from a different army. And I've got 4 choices, so definitely have a lot of options there, and I may just kind of see what kind of 1,500 point list I can put together with the vampires, and then decide what fills the holes. I kind of like the idea of maybe doing 1,500 points of vampires, but they don't have any shooting, and maybe taking like some Empire range troops or something like that to fill the hole. But
that's cool. I'm actually thinking about doing 1,500 of dwarves and spending the extra point on Bretonnian knights.
Bretonnian knights serving as mercenaries to the dwarves. That's interesting.
Yeah. But I haven't laid it in stone yet, but that was my initial, hey, that would sound cool.
Well, it looks like we are at least being watched by John Tailby. He asks how we're all doing. I think we're all doing good, John. I'm sure it's like nice middle of the afternoon on Sunday in your part of the world. If you are interested, I think we got enough room. If you guys are in agreement, enough room for one more if we want Mr. John Tailby to come hang out with us.
I like John.
All right.
I'm all for it.
I am going to send John an invite, and hopefully he'll be able to get on smoothly, which would be super unlike any other time he's ever tried to get on one of these. Oh. Here we go, John. We'll see if this works for you. Blah, blah, blah.
Of course, since you completely glossed over it, my Christmas was all right. My husband got me books again for I don't know, every year since we got married.
Well, I'm hoping eventually you'll learn to read and it won't be a waste of your present.
So, That's our D&D game tomorrow. There's going to be an opening since Josh will be, well, dead. So,
He made up for the books by getting me a video game, which honestly has been a big distraction to me lately. Um, so he's not completely dead.
I will also say, in my defense, the books that I got her were painting tutorial guides that Citadel put out. They were things that she actually wanted, so it's not like I'm just buying her crappy John Grisham novels or something every year. I do actually get her things that are at least tangentially connected to things she's interested in.
See, I could buy that if it wasn't always a book.
Reading is good. You should be a positive role model to our children.
reading is fundamental.
Right.
Not according to public schools.
Well, it is in the Merit House, so there.
So what you're saying is your statement has merit?
Remind me why I haven't executed you yet.
Because I want to play D&D and you're not running it, so shut up.
Aha!
He gets a pass.
So you mean all I've got to do to have leeway to murder him again is to take over running D&D again? Is that... Because that might be worth it.
Hey.
Yeah. In all seriousness, though, I have actually been tooling around again, damn it, with that idea for running a Warhammer-themed D&D game.
That would be interesting.
I think so. Like, I'm working on trying to figure out how to mesh the second ed rules with the specifics about the Warhammer world, like in terms of the magic and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's going to be the hardest part, because the systems and the fluff are very different for the two.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm figuring just go old world with it. So, like, your allowable races would be humans from either Bretonia or Empire, wood elves, dwarves, ogres. Because obviously you wouldn't really want any of the evil races.
Name one of those races you just named that isn't in some way.
All of them?
I said in some way.
Well, that's kind of how...
It's Warhammer verse is very, very ambiguous. It's very, very gray. It's not black and white. It's everybody's fucking evil in some manner.
Well,
the Bretonians treat their poor like shit. The Empire
I would argue...
mutilates creatures.
How does the Empire mutilate creatures?
How many fucking monsters are just like ridiculously mutilated looking?
What do you mean? I don't know what you're
those
talking about.
demigriff, those poor demigriff looking things, and
Well, actually, is the way the fluff paints it. The demigriffs exist in the wild. They exist like in the deeper forest, so it's not like that's not anything they've done. They've just domesticated the damn things. Damn.
What about higher wood elves?
Well, I wouldn't figure high elves, because I wouldn't want to be doing end time stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And since the high elves are actually on Ulthuan,
Yeah.
I would be doing, and I mentioned elves since they're in Athaloran. But
damn it.
what And I would actually, I think I'll disagree with the idea that uh, everything is evil. I don't necessarily like. I'll agree with you. The Warhammer world is not black and white. I would argue that it's black and gray. Because yes, even the quote unquote good guys have some dark, like a dark feel to their characterization. But I think even compared to them, there are certainly races that are absolutely abjectly evil.
Dang it.
I mean, Skaven, for instance. What's wrong?
Trying to get something together. Being fucking obnoxious right now.
How much trouble are you having with it? You've put together, what, 30 freaking direwolves?
No, I have not put together a single direwolf. I have painted 30 freaking direwolves.
Oh, did I get all those put together already? Maybe I did.
Yes, you did.
Yes, and the thing that he left off of those direwolves, I'm trying to put in these direwolves because they are in the samples that I have gotten, and that is what's giving me issue.
Oops.
What was? I'm confused now.
Rib cage.
Oh.
None of your direwolves have rib cages.
I thought they looked a little anorexic.
That would be why.
Okay.
They were sold to the vampire accounts by Chili's.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back. Wolf ribs.
So John says that we should write the Triumph and Treachery game into the narrative, so I could have ogres with Bretonnian allies and dark elves with some warriors of chaos, and we're not above trying that. The main thing right now is I think we want to learn the rules before we go too crazy with throwing it directly into the narrative. At least that's kind of my opinion on the matter. Hey, there he is. How's it going, John? And now he is the shadowy man in a shadowy location.
No, I could see his face better than I could have seen yours.
Okay.
But then again, there wasn't much to look at.
Oh, burn.
Why are you saying, oh, burned for you?
Yep, I know.
And just so we're clear.
I know. I recognize that it was a me burn. I'm not above recognizing burn.
Okay.
Even for myself. I'm an introspective fellow. I can see burns.
Sit on.
So.
It's season to get burned down here.
Yeah, you're in the middle of summer down there, aren't you, John?
Yeah, I've seen several news reports showing snow all over the United States and England and all sorts of things.
Must be nice to have snow.
Forgive me for not being super adept at otherworldly or other continents geography, but you're in New Zealand, right, John?
Yep.
So you're sort of on like the far end from the equator, so to speak, of the Australian landmass, correct?
Yeah, if you go slightly south, but mostly east of Australia, there's two islands which look something like Italy upside down and cut in half, and that's New Zealand. And there's about 4.5 million odd people live in New Zealand now, and 60 million sheep.
Nice.
So plenty to go around.
That's cool. So I heard what was that, Skip?
He lives in Middle Earth.
Yep.
Yep.
Right.
That too.
That's cool. So I heard an interesting.
At the to keep on with the Middle Earth theme, at the Wellington airport, they've got full life-size Gandalf riding enormous giant eagle, another giant eagle, and about 10 times the size Gollum, complete with bubbles, reaching forward, swimming after some salmon. And the new one they've just added is probably slightly smaller than life-size Smorg head statue, where the eye blinks open and looks at you.
That's cool.
That's
Awesome.
awesome.
I wish they put shit like that cool around here. Best thing we've got in this area is we've got the world's largest chest of drawers in High Point.
It's got socks coming out of it.
Yeah, the socks are like the size of a Buick.
Yep.
So, I was going to say I
when
heard
my wife and
I heard an interesting fact about your area of the world, John. Apparently, Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia.
could do. They certainly have a lot of camels and stuff like that there. And yeah, that's heck. We have sheep exports to that part of the world, so no reason why Australia wouldn't do live camel exports.
Yeah. It's just one of those things that kind of blew my mind a little. You wouldn't expect, like, the Middle East to require importing camels, and from Australia of all places. Just
Well, it must be very difficult to breed animals in Saudi Arabia or honestly any place in the Middle East.
Well, the animals have gotten on with it for several thousand years without human help, so
Yeah, well, no doubt we get involved in it, and we mess it all up.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
So,
Speaking of breeding animals, our daughter's fish just bred. There's a little tiny fish in the tank now.
yeah, totally unexpected.
Really kind of it lives.
Yeah, we've already had to explain to her about death when the last set of fish croaked, and it's like explaining that the parents eat the babies is not a conversation I want to have at the moment.
Yeah.
Yummy.
I don't really need her running from the room every time one of us walks in.
That might let you get something done.
there's a story along that line where, you know how parents tell kids that their baby sister or brother is in their mummy's tummy. Well, one of the mums went for a ultrasound, and they showed the picture, and they said, "Look, there's the baby in the mummy's tummy." And the kid turns around to mummy and said, "You ate the baby?"
Mm-hmm. Strangely enough, our daughter really didn't have any problems kind of putting together that whole part on her own. I mean, we explained to her when her sister was gestating that the baby was in mommy's tummy, and so like a couple of days later I come home and Simone's sitting in a living room with her thinking face on, and she looks up at me and goes, "Didu, we have to think." And I was like, "What do we have to think about?" She goes, "We have to think about how to get the baby out of mommy's tummy." So she put a lot of thought into it, and we kind of didn't really go into anything more than that. And then as the months passed, she comes up to me probably 6 or 7 months along, and she says, "Didu, we're going to have to take mommy to the hospital." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, why do you say that?" And she's like, "Because when baby Joanna comes out, it's going to hurt, and there's going to be a lot of blood, and the hospital's going to need to fix her." And I was like, "Wow, you put that together all by yourself, didn't you?"
Children and animals, smarter than we know.
Oh yeah. Well, the worst part is our daughter. She realizes she's smarter than us. I mean, it's she's fully aware of that, and I think she takes great joy in it.
You're lucky that it's only your kids. Our TV is smarter than we are. Certainly smarter than I am. Hi, would you like 97 channels with that?
Yeah, I don't. That's why I don't even bother. It's like I couldn't think of 97 things I would want to watch. So we just do Netflix and are done with it.
Yeah, Apple TV and all sorts of things like that.
I hate Apple. And I hate their stores even more.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a part of your life, so you might as well just get over it.
I probably should. I'm not gonna, but I probably should.
Well, they remind me of GW stores without the 20 smelly teens littering the place, in that the staff are reasonably knowledgeable about the products, they're enthusiastic about the products, and can usually help you get what you want, whereas many generic retailers have none of those things.
See, my biggest issue is that, yes, they know a lot about the products and the whole cult of Apple, but they're, at least in my experience, they're fairly lacking on the generic customer service experience. For instance, the most recent time that has gotten me to completely swear off ever going into another Apple store, we went to pick up Alicia's iPad. And she had done all of her research beforehand. She knew exactly what she was going to get. It was literally a matter of, let us walk into the building, hand you our money, you give us the product we've come for, and we part as friends. So we go in there, and the freaking Apple maitre d' stops us at the door. Now, keep in mind, it's me, Alicia, my mother, a 3-year-old, and a 2-month-old at this point. We literally wanted to run in, do this, and then go out to eat. And I tell the woman when we get there, we are here to buy an iPad. That's all we need to do. And so her instructions are, go to the iPad and somebody will be with you shortly. 25 minutes later of having to wrangle and entertain 2 children in here.
You ain't wrangling Jack. Your mom took the 3-year-old and I was holding the baby. You were sitting there complaining.
Yes, as I have a right to.
So technically I was wrangling 2 children and his mom was wrangling the other one.
Either case, as a customer group, we were wrangling it, but ultimately it doesn't matter. So here's the thing. So not only after 20 minutes does the guy take forever to approach us, he tells us, when we tell him, hey, we just want to buy this and get away, he's unable to go get the product and has to freaking phone in for some jackass in the back to go get the product. And while we're standing there waiting for God knows who to go get a box off a damn shelf so we can hand the money for it, fucker starts trying to upsell us. And I'm like, man, you have not built any sort of customer relationship at all to even bother talking to me about this stuff after you made us sit here for 25 minutes to do something that you literally had to go get a guy who's already in the back to do.
To be fair, he actually did go get the thing himself because the guy in the back was being too lazy to do it.
Right. But that's a whole other argument, and it took him another 5 minutes before making that decision to go do it himself. So that did not really win any points, particularly because I think the only reason that he went to go get it himself, because at that point I was bubbling like a goddamn percolator and was about to hit somebody. So so from that point I have sworn off Apple stores in perpetuity.
And don't feel bad for him, because I gave him the out. I gave him the option of staying at his mother's house with our 2 children while me and his mom went to go get it. He did not have to come. He chose to come because he wanted to complain.
I, as a customer,
You weren't.
deserve the right to express my opinions about shitty customer service. And as someone who is in the customer service and sales industry, I felt like sick on behalf of my entire freaking industry for the experience that we had. So yes, I'm going to talk shit about it. So there.
I think whatever job you do, we're all service and sales. We've all got people who we want to value our service, and we've all got personal brands that we need to manage, whatever it is we do.
But, so that was totally like an into left field that I never intended this Paintisode to go into.
Really? Because you went there.
Well, yes, but it was an unintended detour. It was an unintended detour. Admittedly, it was my detour to make, but it was still an unintended detour. So, John, how was Christmas for you?
Pretty nice and quiet. We had my son Luke, who's 4.5, was odd with. He's into Paw Patrol at the moment, which is sort of like Thunderbirds, with the Tracy family replaced by puppies instead of puppets. So they different puppies do different things and go off on rescues. So yeah, there was that, a modicum of eating and other such things, and chunks of sleeping, and that was about it, really.
Well, better than an overly eventful one, I suppose.
Our 3-year-old would like Paw Patrol too.
As Skip got a busted transmission for Christmas, right, Skip? I think we might have lost him.
Oh, I'm back.
He's gone black. Oh man.
You back?
I'm back.
I was telling them about how you got a busted transmission for Christmas.
Oh yeah, that was lovely.
I thought your crap luck was only on the Warhammer table, not with cars and hospitals as well.
No.
Oh my God. No.
All wrapped up in.
You didn't try and do a Lord Tremendous and drop the dice into the transmission or something like that to grind them all up into paste.
No,
Not
but if you
yet.
If
you've ever heard that song that, like, if it weren't for bad luck, I wouldn't have no luck at all, that was written with Skip in mind.
What are you laughing?
That
Because somebody told me a funny joke.
But yeah, hopefully 2015 will be a generally calmer year for all of us.
Amen.
Because God knows.
Amen to that.
But speaking of funny jokes, they put Pee Wee Herman up on Netflix, and I heard the funniest joke that I told Josh while he was at work, and he thought it was great too. Why do cows have bells?
I don't know. Why do cows have bells?
Because their horns don't work.
Oh,
That is pretty good. And it's pretty good.
and decidedly cleaner than most of the jokes she tells.
Well, somebody posted up on Warhammer YouTube's how many Glade Guard come in a box. and somebody posted back, "I'll play this game. Okay, how many Glade Guard come in a box?"
I actually think it was chameleon skinks was
Oh,
what they
chameleon
were
skinks,
asking.
yeah, that was the one. Yeah, how many chameleon skinks come in a box?
I
don't know.
wanted to
It's
be a
like,
smart ass and say 50, but they're so good at their jobs you can only ever find 10 of them. I was actually at one point considering doing a lizardmen army, and I decided because the kits for the lizardmen skinks, or the chameleon skinks, are so expensive, what I was just going to do was get like tropical bushes and stuff and put blowpipes sticking out of them, like they were just dressed up as foliage.
lizard man in ghillie suit.
Yeah. It
Well,
would be a much cheaper way of doing it.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, if Anthony can get away with a cannon barrel poking out of the side of a mausoleum and call it a war machine, then I think you can get away with a lizard skink with a blowpipe wearing a bush and call it a chameleon.
Right. And I agree. I got to say, the one reason I'm not giving Anthony any crap for that is that you can almost hear in his voice how painful it is for him to put this fluff and this steam in his army. And I'm recognizing and supporting the man's struggle, so I'm not going to give him too much crap.
No, you think he's getting tournament withdrawal symptoms and the desire to input some totally winning combo back into his more list.
I don't know. He's avoiding it so far, but we'll see. I don't know. I think he's definitely got used to losing with his dwarves list recently, so maybe he'll be okay with it by the time he gets this more list put together.
Well, I think the losing part comes. Alicia, have you got a couple of? Is this a combination of hand puppet breakdancing going on in Alicia's room?
What? I have no idea. I'm looking at what I'm painting. What is she doing?
It looked like she had two dire wolves doing a shadow puppet play, dancing backwards and forwards over the screen.
That's what I was doing.
Oh, Jesus.
What? I'm not painting anything right now. I'm just putting stuff together, so I get to be silly.
Okay.
You can be silly anytime, not just when models are being put together. Surely.
Oh,
Or do
okay.
you have strict rules in your house?
Yes.
No, it's just harder to be silly with when models I'm painting because I don't want to accidentally touch the painted, the wet paint on each other. It's like a transfer. But these are perfectly fine because they're not painted.
Yeah, you don't want fluid transfer between models. No.
No. But yeah, I'm just happy that Anthony is doing the whole flavorful, even narrative thing. I mean, that last video he did, it made me proud. It was good to see the spread of the narrative love.
The one where he did the voice altering.
Yeah. I was pretty impressed with that.
Hello. Hello.
You want to see what's distracting me?
Hi.
Hello.
You want to say hello, Lukey?
Hello, Lucky.
Boom.
Just like his dad, right?
Awesome.
Yeah. You want to tell my internet friends about your Paw Patrol toys?
Hello, James.
No. You just want to go back to playing iPads, do you?
Aww.
But like I had the thought the other day that it seems like there's a lot more people willing to kind of embrace the narrative thing, and I was kind of trying to think about what uh, changed sort of in the community. And I mean, admittedly, I'm arrogant, and I'd like to think it was just me that
Nope.
doing what my channel does opened up. But I don't think that's 100% because I think there was still some pushback against it until recently. And the funny thing is I'm kind of traced it back at this point to Malorian leaving. And it's almost like once he decided to go over to take the competitive thing to War Machine, that like it suddenly became okay to be playing more about the fluff.
Yeah,
It's
well,
It's
I
still
can.
not, though.
It's still not though. Screw you.
Sorry, I had to get the burn in. Go ahead, John.
I was going to say, how can poor Josh ever accuse himself of being arrogant when you're there just to remind him that he's not?
Right.
Yeah, that's my whole job.
But you see,
We have very narrow doors in our house. He has to fit through them.
Is it a job or a calling, though?
I think for her it's a fucking hobby.
well, see, Alicia and I have got a tag team going here. I'm the one who gets him the big head because he whips me so much, and then Alicia has to knock him down. So,
You people.
And these are your friends, Josh.
Yeah, right.
If he didn't like the abuse, we wouldn't have been together since, was it,
About
03?
12 years now. Yeah.
Yeah, that must have been about when Adele and I got married. So we've just done 11 years. So
Yeah. Well, we've only been married going on 5 years now. As we maintained our single status to squeeze as much college money out of the United States as they would give to us. So
Then my parents said, you got to get your education before you get married or we'll cut you off. And I'm like, I cannot afford college on my own. So, yeah, I can wait.
but it all worked out.
Yeah, so he had a good long while to decide whether or not he could take the abuse or not before putting a ring on it.
Yep. And somehow I became brain damaged enough to go ahead and do it.
don't they call that the Stockholm Syndrome?
I think so. That makes a certain amount of sense.
The victim identifies so much with their captor that they start adopting their doctrine.
Yeah, I could see that. It's not a bad descriptor of the majority of our relationship, I think.
Yeah, but my method of brainwashing is far more fun than I imagine most Stockholm victims experience.
Oh, you're a traditionalist. You open up the front skull, take the brain out, and actually wash it, and then put it back in.
Right.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. But
So what's a traditional Merritt household Christmas got going for it then?
Oh, God.
As well, now with the 2 kids, it's a very long affair. In fact, it started like 2 weeks ago, and Alicia took the kids home to Wilmington to have Christmas with her family, because I basically work extended hours all through this kind of time of year. So they did that two weeks ago, And then Christmas Eve, we went to my parents' house and did the Christmas thing there uh, for everybody. And then we came home with freaking more than a trunk load of toys for the girls. And I will have to admit, quite a few toys for me, as that's where I got most of the model kits that I got this year. And then Christmas Day, we get up, do the Christmas thing here, the presents and everything, and then drive down to Raleigh, which is like in the middle of the state, for Christmas at my extended family's house. So, a lot of activity.
Yeah, and not only that, but it's not the children that wake me up in the morning on Christmas Day. It's him.
I don't know that I'm old enough to hear that story.
No, he woke me up. He got us all up at 8 o'clock, the jerk. The baby was going to sleep.
I got us all up. Okay, so she's making it sound like I was going, ooh, goody, presents time, like I'm a damn child or something. No, we had to be in Raleigh at 1 o'clock, which means we have to leave here at 11 o'clock. And knowing how long my wife and children take to do anything means I had to give them at least 3 hours to do the whole opening presents and what have you thing here. So it means I woke everybody up at 8 a.m. I don't even think that's super excessive.
It is when you stay up late with the baby. Oh, but you wouldn't know anything about that, would you?
Nope, I'm too busy working to keep a roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm doing this to get us vaguely back on topic for wargaming. I'm doing this paint scheme that Victor Case came up with for this kind of dead pallid flesh. And I'm almost worried that my eyes can't tell enough of the difference between the paint colors he recommends using for me to actually pull this off.
What are the paint colors?
Well, right now I'm getting the base coats down, and the base coat of the flesh is Administratum Gray. And the base coats for like the wing fins is Raycarth flesh. Then the idea is I'll use, once the Administratum Gray is set, I'll use like a watered down pallid witch flesh to add some white to the raised parts, but not get it into the recesses, so that it leaves the gray still there as the shadow. And then you go in with like a fine highlight over the raised parts with white scar once that's set. So it's like gray on white to give that super pale. And then the fins go Raycarth flesh with a brown wash to get all of the edges, and then bring it back up with the Raycarth, so it's still white and pale and looks pretty bloodless, but it has a browner tint to it than what will be in the basic, like the normal flesh. So I'm worried.
Knowing you and how you couldn't tell the difference between the white paints I brought home to paint the house with, yeah, you're not going to be able to tell the difference between any of those.
Awesome. So I'm probably going to end up mangling this, which is why I'm only working on one right now. If I can get one down, I'll be okay. At least get it looking halfway decent.
The big thing I found that made a difference for a lot of that was lighting.
Mm-hmm.
I got myself one of those fancy lights with a big sort of like daylight fluorescent tube in it, and a negative ion generator for stress management and all sorts of stuff like that. And I got my magnifying headband, and all of a sudden it's like painting your models as if they were photographed and blown up onto the screen. So suddenly the stuff that looks subtle on the model when you're painting it and it's like this big, against
Hmm.
when it's blown up on the screen, it looks like it was a 5-year-old doing paint by numbers. I found that made a big difference. So it could easily be, lighting or anything like that.
Yeah. I have one of those. I mean, we use these big white light painting magnifying things, and I tried using the magnifier at one point, and it just, I mean, it threw me off so bad. um, and
Oh
I
yeah, when
don't.
you got a focal length of like 3 inches and you're trying to paint it like this at 3.5 times
Yeah.
magnification, it's a slightly different painting pose.
Mm.
Yeah, Skip's got one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm blind.
But I
as
think
bats.
the big problem for me isn't necessarily seeing the model for the details. It's that I don't know if I'm like maybe borderline colorblind or something, but I actually have a difficult time telling apart various hues. Um, Particularly when they're very close. Like there's a number of paints in the GW line that give me all sorts of problems just not being able to tell a difference between the two. Like I can paint them side by side and come back a little later and not be able to tell one color from the other. They'll look the same to me. Which, once you get to these more subtle kind of color schemes, really becomes a giant pain in the butt. It's like I'm supposed to be subtly highlighting this, but I can't see any difference until I've just doused the damn thing in so much highlighting paint it looks flat again. It's just flat in a different color.
So I wasn't really
Yeah.
trying to burn him. It's just I already know that he has issues.
Yeah. No, it's one I fully acknowledge that.
This once.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to burn him.
Yeah. Well, I think you don't try and burn me on things that I already acknowledge as my failings. So.
Yeah.
But you didn't. I'm being invaded again. Ugh.
Nothing like
What are you
kids
watching over
meddling
there,
with me.
Leaky? Hobby Kids. And if ever there's a YouTube channel that should get massive corporate sponsorship, right? Hobby Kids is the channel you don't want to let your kids watch unless they've already found it, because it's just people taking out opening toys and doing toy reviews and Kinder Egg collections and all sorts of things. It's like a giant shopping channel for Luke. And comes off going, I've seen this toy on my iPad. Can your internet friends find it for me, Daddy?
Yeah.
What did you say, Daddy?
Hey, you like Hobby Kids, don't you, buddy?
But, oh goodness. So I did get my second piece of terrain from Terrain Wench, sort of for Christmas.
Dang it.
You all right?
About to have a freaking hissy fit on the dog here.
Oh, the random quotes. But it's actually. Let me go
Ever
get
work
it.
with
'Cause-
children or animals?
Yeah, let me go get it because it's awesome and I want to show it off, and I'm not going to do a solo video for this one.
Lazy sculptor. There's a bubble right in the rib socket. I can't get it out. And it's making it hard to get the ribs in.
Oh, it's a direwolf you're having a hissy at. I thought you had a dog that you were going to have a hissy at.
No! I'm building dire wolves and I'm having a hissy fit at dire wolves because of the bad. There's a bubble.
So can you guys see this good in the?
Yeah, it looks pretty cool.
That's my new
Yeah.
amazing collapsing tower from Terrain Wench. It's like I wish she would put more stuff up on her shop more often, but I'd probably run out of money before she ran out of stuff to do.
Yeah, and then you can
Did
go
you
marry.
get that water piece?
Yes, I did. I wasn't gonna show that because I'm gonna do a video specifically on this guy because he's a new guy. But let me see if I can. I'll at least give a little
I'm
sneak peek.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Your
I
bed.
was
No.
Hey.
Why?
super happy with how that one works out. And this particular guy, he does commissions too. So I'm kind of talking to him about some ideas for some ogre-themed terrain and see what he comes up with. But I'm planning on doing a product review like I did with Terrain Wench in the next day or two. And do that up as a short little video because I'm pretty happy with what he did.
Why can't we have like orc and goblin theme terrain, or dark elf, or dwarf?
Well, you know what? You want to pay for it? We can have whatever terrain you want. But
Battlefield in the Box do some excellent huts
Mhm.
that would look perfect for ogres because they are like giant skin tents with ribs made out of giant mammoth bones.
I have one of theirs. Their ogre. I think it's called their ogre chieftain tent. That's really awesome. Like, no, I absolutely agree with you there. Their stuff is pretty amazing. I've seen a lot of them around, like on the ogre sites and whatnot. So I don't really like. Part of what I want is something unique. So that's why I've been kind of trying to find these terrain makers that are just doing kind of unique stuff. Like Terrain Wench, all of the stuff she does is just a one-off. Like, she doesn't repeat any of it. I know the two pieces that I bought for her are like totally unique. Nobody has those sorts of things, which makes me very happy just because our table will look totally different from anybody else's.
So Skip, if you want to make some Dark Elf terrain, those Battlefield in a Box ogre huts, reading the descriptions out of Malice Darkblade, paint the skin parts purple and indigo kind of colours, and they look perfect as a shade encampment.
Ooh.
And if you take some of the what was it? DM Scotty showed you how to make like hanging prison cages with captives out of hair rollers, sort of plastic tubes about 2-3 inches long and about an inch and a bit diameter, and you take all the fluffy stuff off and you're left with a plastic tube, and he just painted that up in rusty metal, and it looks just like the thing out of Lord of the Rings where Gandalf is languishing at the end of movie 2. So get a few of those going around and that kind of thing. And who is it? Reaper do a captive hanging from a roasting spit over a fire, so you can fairly quickly knock up a dark elf themed encampment out of available bits.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool for a Camping of Destruction.
Yeah. And that's the other thing I want to do. I do eventually want to get one of each of the terrain pieces that are in the rulebook, because it kind of sucks when we're rolling up terrain and It's just not like we're having to just kind of make do because we don't have what we're looking for that particular piece.
And technically, we do have some orcs and goblin terrain. I made a whole bunch of mushrooms. Not only that, but I would argue that the siege tower is orc based because I made it orc scale.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
And I would argue that our daughter, who has splashed paint all over it, has roughly the same artistic talent as any given orc. So I'll argue that one.
Well, especially if she used red.
Mm-hmm. To make it go faster. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I think there's some red on it.
Yeah. She just used whatever color she thought was pretty at any given moment.
Because she's painted it like 4 or 5 times at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, here it is. Yeah, the wheels are red. There you go. Yep. See, there's the wheels. They're red.
Yep.
Yeah.
Is that a homemade one?
Yeah, I made this completely out of mat board and the hot glue.
Okay. As I say, it looks like what we call ice block or popsicle sticks.
Mm-hmm.
Made the framing of it.
Not only that, but I made it work. Woo.
Oh wow, lowering drawbridge.
Yep. It's I think we've used it in one game because we've done one siege game.
I thought you used it in the other siege game because I was going to be very upset if somebody didn't pick a siege tower. Because I went to all the trouble to make
That's the one I'm talking about.
No,
There was at least one siege game where the halflings were drinking some seriously good judo juice and fought off several attackers to hold one of their towers. Even down, I think they were like down to what one halfling, or did they all get eaten in the end?
I think they survived. I think there was one left, and that's the one I was talking about. What other one are you guys talking about?
Before you started the channel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We used it for Blood in the Badlands for that last battle.
Okay. Yep. All right. Sorry, my brain is not really factoring in those games as existing.
Or is it like BC? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. That's what my brain is working on.
Before channel years.
Right. Well, I mean, I've already done. What am I up to now? 83 battle reports that we've done on the channel in a year. It's like that's a hell of a lot. And that's not even counting all of the other just random vids we've done. I think I was looking at it the other day. It's something like 141 vids up on the channel. Which seems to me like a hell of a lot.
I have 4.
I have 1.
And you're turning into a robot again.
God damn it.
Too much paint on the brush, Skip.
I want Alicia to start going, exterminate, exterminate, exterminate.
I just don't know. Like, that's basically a brand new mic. I don't know why it keeps doing that.
It's not even basically. It's been doing it since I bought it. It is new. I think it's Google. Like, I don't think Apple and Google like each other very much.
That's probably not an unfair statement.
That's a certainty.
So every once in a while, Google's like, nope, you don't get to sound normal. You have to sound like a robot.
Because you're a conformist. You buy that Apple shit. That's the real voice of the cult of Apple.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
Domo. Thank you.
millions of Dennis DeYoung fans rejoice.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a hell of a lot of music aficionados who tune into my Paintisodes at fucking 11 o'clock at night.
Why not? People watched me like drone on and on about nothing for 2 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, why not? I mean, there are people that like music. Just because you like Warhammer doesn't necessarily mean you don't like music.
Well, yeah, but I mean, realistically, oh, hey, William Page is watching. How's it going, William? He says he needs to trek that terrain company out. If you're talking about the one that John was talking about, that was, what is it, Battlefield in a Box, John?
Yeah, Gale Force 9.
Yeah, Gale Force 9.
Woo! Game Force 9.
Yeah.
I got their flock.
Yeah, I've got that tent. I also use their rivers. Like, they have some really good rivers.
And their recycled swamp-looking things.
Oh, is
Yeah,
that Gale Force 9 too?
I'm fairly certain that Guild Force 9 will.
Yeah, they've do a whole bunch of pools and oasis, and they've done some ones which are like toxic swamp things, which are sort of green with bubbles coming out of them.
Yeah, I saw those. Those are really nice. Having a hard time telling these colors apart.
So,
It's
who
white.
do you think will get an
Label
award?
the jars.
What?
Whoop. I'll let John ask what because his is probably more in line with what you're talking about. So,
No, I was just saying to Mittierim, label the jars.
Well, the jars are labeled. The problem is like once I get it done, let me
his
see if I can-
eyeballs aren't.
Yeah, my eyeballs aren't. Can I get it close enough to? Yeah, I don't think I can get close enough. Like, it's hard for me to see because I'm trying to do this highlight now where I do the watered down pallid witch flesh, and I'm having trouble seeing like where it's sitting on the model and where it hasn't been. So it's
You have got to be kidding me.
no, I'm not. I'm being absolutely.
Ah.
I'm fairly certain she's talking about her dogs.
Frickin'. Don't drop at least one
Maybe you
friggin'
guys
part.
need to swap and do the things you're good at, and Josh can make the dogs, and Alicia can do the subtle shading and highlighting.
Of course, that would imply that I'm good at assembling things. I'd end up with half those rib cages glued to my fingers by the end of it.
Yeah, his fingers are too big for this. This time I was only complaining because I dropped a piece and I had to go under the desk to find it. And that would happen even if I was painting, so.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And in all honesty, part of the reason I'm trying all of this is to improve my own skill levels. So
I can stop ripping on him.
yeah, I don't ever think like I'm not arrogant enough to think that I'll ever paint a model that you'll approve of. So I'm not really thinking that. So it's a fever dream.
We need to get more children's Tylenol, by the way.
For my fever dream.
Yeah, speaking of your fever dream, I need more children's Tylenol just for you. No, I need for our kids. But to the question I was going to pose to the group, who do you guys think's gonna actually get to walk away with some of those shiny gold trophies this time?
I am going to opt out of this because I've seen the voting, so I have a pretty good idea of who's actually going to take them. So you guys can discuss, though.
I know it won't be me.
I don't know. You could be best new series.
You did actually, and what I'll talk about is the surprise folks who got some votes. You actually did get a couple of votes for best new series, Skip.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, it wasn't me. I mean, but
I know. And it wasn't me either.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you talked about it in terms of certainly from my point of view, I think the Mittierim narrative battle reports would be a contender for best breakthrough artist.
Is that a category?
No.
I don't even know what the categories are, but I didn't think that was one of
No,
them.
I don't know what the categories are, so I'm trying to paraphrase from having watched music awards. So,
There you go.
Best breakthrough artist
did-
would probably be you
So
guys.
did neither of you guys vote?
My computer wouldn't let me. I already explained this to you.
Okay.
I voted day one.
Yeah, me too. John, did you not vote?
No,
You
no,
got
I
an
haven't.
hour left.
Quick, pop it up on the other screen.
Your
Yeah.
vote matters.
Your vote, it does. I will say there are at least 2 categories that will very much come down to one vote. So,
And 10 to 1 is my category.
so anybody, I strongly recommend everyone go vote because there several of the categories are very, very close. So. Now,
Yeah, I think you have to give. I think even though Once Bitten started cutting back on the volume in terms of high quality, consistent output for battle reports over the year, I think I'd have to give it to him. Most outraged channel in all of the internet probably has to go to Anthony for having
yeah, he's definitely one of the contenders for best rant video.
the 13 things I hated about Skaven.
Yeah, that
series.
one was mentioned by name several times.
That is just an awesome name for a rant, by the way.
Well, my favorite part about that whole thing was how YouTube took it down. Like, I guess from the hate speech. I'm not sure why, but it disappeared for a month or so before he got it. He got them to let him put it back up. I was like, that's pretty awesome, actually.
Well, it probably had the, like, you look at the title and, you know, things I hate about blah is probably one of the watch phrases that YouTube generally doesn't want people posting. Because if it wasn't in the context of Warhammer and Skaven, if it was about real people or real events or something like that, it could just as easily have been something really unpleasant.
Yeah.
I guess freedom of the press doesn't really apply to YouTube.
Well, I think with freedom comes responsibility to use it wisely.
I think they took it down preemptively and tried to find the racial or ethnic group Skaven, thinking that it was some sort of
actual dude somewhere.
And when they couldn't find that racial or ethnic group that he was making fun of, they realized it was just a game and let him put it back up. That would be my thought.
That sounds entirely too likely.
That's why it's funny.
But I think that video spawned Warhammer ranting as a genre.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I mean, heck, that was one of my first videos that I did sort of to bring the positivity back up. I did my top 10 things I love about the Ochre Kingdoms. And I actually think, if I recall correctly, that was the first of my videos that Malorian ever watched.
Well, yeah, if you get channels posting videos and going backwards and forwards to each other, you know, like some of those rap battle videos and bits and pieces that they had a while ago, and now MC1 Gamer's done the response intro video from the point of view of the undead in Anthony's campaign.
Hmm.
So you're starting to see channels have a back and forth over the the channel space.
Hmm. Which I think is very cool. I always thought that the more we kind of get talking to each other and actively kind of experience each other, the stronger it builds the community. But
Yep. And it exposes communities and groups to different ideas. You know, I mean, I watch people's battle reports and I learn stuff about how to play Bretonians, right? And I haven't got a Bretonian army that I can put on the table, but now when I see it coming on the opposite side of the table, I'm going, okay, so they might try and do this, so how am I going to do that? And it gets you access to something that's outside just your local meta or your local gaming group.
hmm yeah, I absolutely. And I mean, it's particularly helpful, I think, for a gaming group like ours because we are so insular. I mean, for the most part,
Yep.
we play the same people every week. And if it weren't for the sort of the interaction on YouTube, we wouldn't have the first freaking idea what's going on in the larger world of Warhammer outside my kitchen table.
Let's see.
Amen to that.
Luke, do you want an afternoon tea snack? You hungry? Sorry? Hang on a sec, I'll just go and be daddy.
No problem. Hey, Alicia, are you at a point where I can come get them clippers?
No,
Oh,
they're mine.
Then I'm pretty much done. I just need to clip out these pieces so I can work on assembling them before I start applying inks so it'll run in the right direction.
Don't you think you should let them dry?
No, I don't like dry paint.
Because you start handling them before they're completely dry, you're going to mess everything up that you just did.
Yeah. I just want one, like, it's so hard to see how well this is going to look when they're in pieces on the sprue.
Oh, that's your fault for doing it like that.
Well, it's not my fault, because frankly, with the way these things kind of fold in on each other, because they got the weird bat wings that are in, like, the running weird position, I wanted to make sure, particularly with this weird paint style that I'm doing, that I can get to everything I need to get for the accenting, particularly since the skin itself is not going to have any accenting based on liquid talent, which is usually my go-to. I want to make sure I can at least get to what I need to get to do the...
I still think it's odd that you're not using any washes for the skin.
Well, take it up to Victor Hughes. This is the last video he did on pale gray flesh. I am literally following word for word what he told me to do. And I was talking to him literally through the comments, so I know I'm doing it exactly right, or at least I'm doing things as he told me. Whether I am doing them right or not remains to be seen.
I don't know, I'd have to come and look and see if you're doing it right, having not watched the video.
Well, aren't you, Miss Spanky? Like I said, I figure everybody seems to have a very positive opinion of Victor and his hobby videos, so I figure I could at least get some good advice from him.
Oh,
So-
no, I'm not saying that you can't. I think your stuff is amazing. Like, if he can actually manage to teach you to do something half decent, go for it. I say go for it.
God, why did I marry you? Jesus. right, so now,
Wow.
as these colors are drying, I'm actually starting to see the difference in them. So that might actually be a good sign.
After I get done building all these guys, I'm gonna have to glue flock on bases before I prime. Aggravation.
Why are you going to glue flock on the bases before you prime them?
You put from the way that they look, because I got shipped some samples. Thank you. Makes my job so much easier to be able to look at something in person. From the way that they look, the gravel bits are attached to the base pre-priming. Once you attach the gravel bits, you let the glue dry for a little bit, and then you prime over top of it. The primer helps solidify the gravel to the base, and then you can
Yep.
paint over that to get it to the exact color you want. Then you add grass over top of that.
Okay. Yeah,
That's
that's a pretty traditional way of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That has the attraction, especially on sort of heavier weighted looking models like Space Marines, of actually making them look like they're sinking a little bit into the ground and a part of the ground rather than kind of floating on top. Whereas if you made the bases and glued them on later.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as far as the direwolves go, they're pretty much floating to begin with because of the little thing that they're standing on.
Oh yeah. So
I'm
you
still
so you
not going
kind
to attach them to the base, but I'm going to glue, because of what he's got here. This is the sample, not one of my work here. He's got the gravel going over top, so
Yep.
I'm just going to set him on there. This stuff.
you could always cut that bit off the direwolf, put a little pin into the foot, and then make the base separately with a little like pinhole, and just stick the direwolf in when you've painted it.
I actually don't have any like pinhole drill. I don't drill pins in anything because I don't have anything to be able to put them in. So I'm hoping that this will work. I'll just glue a little bit of ballast on the base there and make it work.
Yeah, no, that's certainly there.
It's just going to be a giant pain in the butt because I'm not used to doing it. Ugh.
So here's the guy I've been making while we've been talking.
I gotta say, I like their hair. It's a pain in the butt to paint, but I do like how their hair is sculpted.
Yeah, so this guy is inspired by one of the characters in the Malice Darkblade books. So Malice has a brother who was deformed at birth and then thrown into the cauldron and survived and became a temple adept. So he's kind of a bit crippled and stuff like this. So I had a spare pair of Corsair legs when I'd cut one of the legs off and used that to replace the silly old peg leg on the whatever he calls it, the Admiral guy that they brought out. So he's Corsair legs with a zombie leg puttied up. That's the bit I have to kind of work on next for his kind of armoured boot. And he's got then a green stuff belt, and then the top part is the warlock, and then the axe is the axe of the champion of the Dark Riders. So you know, two or three bits. You know, every wargamer has their bits box, right? So it's some bits that they're floating around in.
I need to get mine organized. My bits box is like in two giant cardboard boxes that contain the original GW boxes that those kits came in. So it's just, I mean, it's a huge mess.
Yeah.
Means
And
it takes a half hour to get to anything.
Here's my it's that casket of souls that I've been making. So it's got some skeletons and then some bits around the some of the new spirit hosts around there.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
You know, I have really never liked that kit, the new Spirit Host kit, but seeing them in that color actually makes them stand out quite a bit to me. I kind of like that.
Yeah, well, I was kind of tossing up, and it's like, well, what color are you going to paint them? Sort of, green is traditional, and maybe turquoisey, purpley colors. And I thought, nah, let's go for sort of red, and because red's going to be another spot color in the undead army. So away you go, and with the extra skeletons lying around, you've got bits kind of coming out of just about all of the skeletons now. So it's all really spirits and souls coming out of the skeletons. And then I think here was one that I didn't have painted, but I've done some more work on. That last time we were on talking about conversions and bits and pieces. So that's a Crocodile Games miniatures Ice Witch with witch elf hands and weapons, and then mounted on a cyborg dwarf basing kit, which basically means you get a whole bunch of kind of dwarf head pieces in stonework for your models to stand on. So I thought, hey, what better thing should a sorceress be standing on than a dwarf head?
I like Paul. I think she's pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a nice model, and the cloak is separate. So if you are into something slightly less ostentatious for cloaks, you could cut that off, or not use that and make a smaller one, or just model some longer hair down and get rid of the whole thing, and then have the models coming off from one foot. And now with the end times, now that I can have other elves working for Malekith, here's I thought, who's going to be useful to have? Well, I'll have one of them wood elf glade warden captain guys who can shoot and sniper enemy characters out and twang off the enemy general before the start of the game. So again, we've got a spare Glade Rider torso and cloak, some Witch Elf, as in the 40k version, legs, and a spare Dark Elf helmet slapped on top, and again, on top of a dwarf base. So just, yeah, you can, it's like, what have I got in my bits box? How will I join them together today?
And inject, of course, your natural dwarf hate into the project.
I love dwarfs. They make fantastic slaves. They're long-lived, extremely skillful, and great at building stone. I mean, they're perfect. Catching the buggers is hard work.
Yeah, I mean, the goblins figured that out long ago. Come on. Why build our own tunnels when we could just take theirs? It's pretty easy.
Wow.
Just glad Michael's not here. He'd be crying.
That's why I'm doing it. But then again, I'd do it even if it was here.
Yeah, I'm sure my name would be going into the Book of Grudges in red ink, and Michael will probably be bashing his face on the table to get the blood. So,
That's actually, I'm very surprised he hasn't actually done a Book of Grudges. Because that just sounds like something he would do, just knowing him.
He's too busy trying to save his bird.
Yeah, he has gone a little high elfy lately, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
I think it's the helmet.
You guys, and a jar of water, I've got her to buy a lithium vacuum cleaner, which is the better one.
Yeah, this one that we can just use if we want to put what's
She got it for less than what we paid for ours, which isn't. Harvey Norman's have got a sale on.
yeah.
And got the phones half price.
You are telling all of the wargaming YouTube community what you've just bought.
Yeah.
Hello.
We approve. They flee in terror.
That's right, flee in terror from the power of the internet.
That's a good sign, though, John. That's how Alicia started.
Yeah.
That being the standard reaction of a Warhammer wife when offered the chance to present herself in front of the entire gaming community.
I'll tell you why that is. We'd much rather prefer that everybody think that we're imaginary.
He must have gone upstairs. He was
Kind of
sitting
like
on the
Thor's
couch.
wife on Cheers or something.
Well, we kind of know Nick had one because we heard this female voice. Now, whether it's actually his wife or whether he kind of rented a model to come in and answer the questions, one of those voice actors, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, as far as voices go, I mean, all Josh had to do to prove that he had a wife was just to turn on some Babylon 5, apparently. And have it playing inaudibly in the background.
She who
I'm never
wears
gonna live that
green
one down,
sash
am
is
I?
green leader.
Yup.
Yep.
Shades. Why do you test me?
Now. What's wrong with your shades?
Task.
Needs more wash.
I just did. It is still not looking right.
Are you, when you're putting it on, are you just kind of wiping, so there's almost none left, or are you kind of dot, dip, that kind of, to kind of
I'm
have
doing
some pooling?
Almost like I'm dry brushing it.
Like you're dry brushing it? You might be wiping off more than you're meaning to, then.
Yeah. Do it more like this motion, Skip.
Okay, dotting it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of dot it in certain areas. You can take your brush then and kind of pull the wash just a little bit out to thin it out in certain areas so you don't get too much where you don't want it.
Okay.
But you need enough of it so it'll pool where it needs to pool.
I bought some. That makes perfect sense, actually. I also bought some glaze. Gullium blue.
Be careful with that. You'll want to use it like, but you got to remember it has an innate glossiness to it.
Okay.
So it'll come out really shiny.
Okay.
What I used it for on those dwarves I traded you, where I did the blue lacquer over the armor, that's that Galisman glaze.
Okay.
So you can look at them and see that it's shiny because the idea was it was supposed to be armor glazing. But you got to be very careful using that on, as if you were trying to use it as an ink.
Now, and if you're going to use a wash and then a glaze on the same area of the model, use the wash first and do your highlight, and then you can put your glaze over top because your glaze is going to add more color than your wash will.
Okay.
Oh.
Everything okay?
Breaking my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he was treating the stairs with a little too much contempt, and they showed him the error of his ways.
That gravity, the catch up with.
Yep. Well, when you're doing things like jumping down the stairs two at a time, doesn't take much to screw it up and that kind of thing. So.
Yep.
Luckily, we've managed to ingrain in our 3-year-old to always hang on to the rail and not run or jump up the stairs.
When I think the one time that she went down the damn stairs like a rag doll probably did more than anything we did.
I don't know that she really remembers that. She was still kind of young.
Yeah. We had house guests, and it was just after she started walking enough to be able to get up the stairs. And the house guest left the living room where we had her kind of gated in and left the gate open. So Simone followed her all the way up to the stairs, got to like the second to the last stair and lost her balance and went backwards and just went flying down the staircase like a rag doll, slammed into the bottom, and then got up like there was no problem until all of us rushed over to her and she immediately started freaking out.
She pretty much just did a cartwheel. And to be fair, I've done that before too. Not with the kind of stairs that we have at our house, but I did it in high school. I was at the top of the risers, and I somehow ended up on stage. I don't know how I managed to do that because that involved a flip upward at the end.
You're an amazing acrobat, my dear.
Yep.
Apparently, Warboss Tay also did a two-part video on painting the Vargeist.
You should totally watch that then.
Yeah.
He is super helpful.
Yeah, I like his videos.
I think I did, like, I looked at that one, but it's very different from, like, paint scheme-wise from what I'm doing here, because it's kind of based on what Victor did, so maybe if I totally fail at this and it looks dumb by the time I'm finished with it, I'll start over from scratch and...
So tomorrow.
God
Wow.
damn. Why don't I cancel your internet access? That's what I should do.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Just tell the government she's a North Korean agent. They'll pull her IP address straight away.
Awesome. Let's get on that. Oh,
Jealous.
I'm not jealous. I'm frustrated. I'm trying to do this right, and I'm getting no support.
I'm sorry, you left yourself open for if I screw this up, okay? You can't even tell me you didn't leave yourself open for that.
Not saying I didn't leave myself open. I'm just saying that otherwise might not have taken every shot I give them openly.
But you know...
Yeah, there is such a thing as self-control.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Nah.
I mean, I'm not expecting you to say good things, because you don't ever say good things about anything, but...
That's not true.
I would accept it as a win if you just withheld like 1 out of every 10 insults you felt the need to throw at me. I'm asking just for a 10% reduction in bitch. Can you pull that one off for me?
We could try a New Year's resolution, but right now I'm not seeing it. I don't know. Give me some booze. We'll talk.
Well, Alicia's own Paintisode was pretty emo.
Yeah. I can
It
get
was like-
kind of weird at night.
It's like, I'm doing this Paintisode, and it's like a godly hour of the morning, and I feel like crap, and you know.
It's pretty much how she is. She's either emo or explosive. There's not really much in...
I'm not always emo.
No, I said emo or explosive. That's where you are the rest of the time.
Well, I think you've bought yourself another 10 interjections there.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, I don't ever expect it to change, so I might... If she's going to be a bitch to me anyway, I might as well earn it.
And thus the vicious cycle continues.
Right.
Yeah.
We really are both kind of enablers, and It's the way our relationship works. It's a great balance.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
You-
I'm a bitch. It works.
And we enable each other to be that way.
You push her buttons and then complains when she explodes. Yeah,
Exactly.
that sounds like a recipe.
Sounds like an episode of The Odd Couple.
Right.
Well, bomb squad he ain't. That's for sure.
No. I'm like that robot they send in when they know the shit's gonna explode.
I see. Expendable minion Mittierim.
Pretty much. Alright. I vaguely think this is working, sort of. And that's as good as it's going to get until I get it put together.
So I saw that they made a Sharknado 2 on Netflix.
Yep.
Further proof that there is no God.
Will Wheaton's in it, I think.
What?
Yeah, I think he is.
Are you serious?
I heard him talking about it on one of his shows, so I don't know if he's in it or...
Why? Why would you make a second Sharknado movie?
I have no idea.
I mean, I can't imagine the first one did very well. I mean, but just on concept alone, but come on.
Well, it took $1.25 to make. I mean,
Yeah.
if 4 people saw it, that's 600%.
It can't be as bad as that Bigfoot movie with Greg Brady and Danny Partridge in it.
I'm glad I just don't watch TV.
However, the
Is
funniest
Will
thing about that is Bigfoot punts Alex Cooper. I mean, literally punts him like a football. And anytime I feel him down, I go back and watch that clip, and it always cheers me up.
Just to watch Alice Cooper get punted.
Just the way he punts it. It's just hilarious.
Was Will Wheaton the guy who was Wesley Crusher in Star Trek?
Correct.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And
Have
since
not the
that
fans
role,
murdered him by now?
Say
I
again?
was sure he would have got lynched at some Trekkie convention or other.
No, he's actually done a lot in the gaming community. In the YouTube community, too. I mean, him and Felicia Day do quite a bit.
And
on
he does
Geek
a-
and Sundry.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he does a lot of guest stars on what's that show?
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, he basically cashes in on the fact that geeks like him.
Mm-hmm.
So anything geeky, he's in on it.
And he doesn't take himself seriously, which I think is pretty funny too.
He's pretty much like a modern day Adam West.
He's also a big Warhammer guy. He used to paint Warhammer models in between takes in Next Gen. He's
Wow.
on the random list of people you would never have expected to play Warhammer. But,
Yep. And never to be confused accidentally with Josh Whedon, right?
right.
Yeah.
Well, it's Whedon versus Wheaton.
Uh,
Will has the T.
And on his sci-fi show, I don't know if y'all watched that, but he has Skeletor answering viewer mail, which is absolutely hilarious.
I don't know that I've seen that, but I kind of want to now.
Yeah.
Yep, it's Skeletor. It's really Skeletor. It's the guy's voice and everything.
He got the voice actor.
Yes.
Awesome. I want to go see that now.
Oh. I loved him on the Guild. He did really some great work. He's just an obnoxious MMO player.
Well, he was playing himself, wasn't he?
No.
Okay, then he's just been playing a dick since he played William Crusher.
Crush him. Yeah, he has a lot of shit to make up for after that one.
Yeah, he's been an evil dink in everything I've seen him in.
Well, he does it well.
Yeah. I'm not saying he doesn't, I'm just saying he's been an evil dink since the...
Trying to think of other topics. Anybody got anything? I'm running a little dry.
You were talking just before I joined about triumph and treachery, and I'm thinking that would make a pretty awesome narrative game. Given you've got as a way to like kick off and or bring together several of the plot lines for a kind of a season climax, because you've got you could do ogres with Bretonnian allies, and the Dark Elves get some Anya Snowmane following Warriors of Chaos, and maybe you do the Bretonnians and vampires, or Bretonnians and demons together, reflecting Lord Alphonius's slightly more overt demonic following.
Yeah. And I definitely agree. I think it's going to give us a lot of options to tell different stories. I just think the main thing is we all want to make sure we know what the hell we're doing with the rules before we get neck deep in doing that. But it's like right now we're kind of at an interesting point in the narrative, or at least in how the narrative is being driven, in part because Skip has been wanting to focus so much on learning the Dark Elves. We've been kind of dealing with more than the story really warrants at this point. But I'm hoping with kind of the coming of the new year, the ogre story is, at least the current ogre story is winding itself to a close, and I'm hoping we can definitely get some sort of new new narrative focus. Maybe might be the best way to put it.
You need
Just
to breathe some unlife into some of those narratives.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if Michael gets his high elves ever painted.
It's not like he waited to get the damn Beastman painted before he got that shit in.
Yeah.
He still has 4 models in that damn army painted, and that's it.
Or anything.
Yeah, I think the only way he's gonna get those armies painted fully is if he turns up at your house with a bag of models and a large dollop of cash and says, Alicia, here you go.
And then
He
it'll
actually-
be a year before we get to it.
Right.
Yeah, I'm before him.
In his defense, so am I, frankly. In his defense, he is actually making progress on his high elves. It's just slow progress because he's very in his attitudes about the painting. I think he is very much like Alicia. He's very perfectionist and wants to get everything done on a model before moving on. So it makes his models look very good when he gets them done. But it means he's constantly tinkering and working on them. I mean, he's even gone back just kind of for a change of pace and went back and was doing dwarf models that I thought were done months ago. because he wants just a little bit of different effect here, a little bit of a different effect there, and so I don't think he'll ever actually be done.
Yeah, I can get not being done with an army, but I can also get wanting to have an army which is tabletop ready, shall we say?
Yes.
And I mean, high elf infantry is at tabletop ready is spray white, do silver, do skin, do spot colors, and shields, and bits of brown for boots and spears, and then maybe a blue wash over the white and silver bits. Done, right? Get it done, get it on the table, and then somebody else was saying about it, like in a Warhammer regiment, what do you really see? It's spears, heads, and shields, and as a dog just gallops across the screen, a spear, head, and shield, and everything else is just background color, right? And again, I see nothing wrong with people having a higher standard of finishing on character models and even on front ranks of units. And once you're talking about the guys in the middle of ranks 2 to 5,
Yeah.
you're really not going to get any mileage out of having them up to Golden Demon standard when there's some random punk spearman in the middle of a unit.
Now, I will say he's gotten... I mean, he's focusing because he wants the army to be primarily cavalry, so he's definitely been focusing on his cavalry models, which, of course, being horse and rider, do take a little bit longer. I think they're for as long as he's been working on them, I think he's coming along pretty well for just what he's getting done. But I definitely can understand it drives me a little bit nuts when I'm doing the battle reports and I'm having trouble looking at the pictures and telling what unit is what because they're all featureless gray plastic.
Well, especially when Malorian's put up his how to do a model in 5 minutes kind of thing, and there are a lot of spray paint cans and stuff like that out there that you can use to get a good base coat of them on the majority of the model in a matter of a few seconds.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just happy I can paint quickly because I've gotten... Like, if I look back over this year and just look to see what I've gotten done, I mean, I've taken, in the last year and, 3-4 months, I've gotten 5 armies pretty much completely painted up to about the 3,000 point standard.
Not me.
That's an awful freaking lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
And during that time, you've had a new daughter, so that's undoubtedly been a small distraction.
Just a little. But more for you than me. So that's why I said just a little.
I was gonna say I almost got turned into stone with that, guys.
Yeah. What did I wake up to see? Like, I come down to get ready for work, and she's just sitting there staring at me with that gaze. I'm like, what did I do? Wait a minute. Don't answer that question, because I obviously did something, and I'm sorry for whatever it was. Let me start my day.
Yeah. Please, can the condemned man at least have a last breakfast before he's killed?
Yeah. As I've said a number of times before, there's a great deal of serenity in knowing for 99% certainty that when my death comes, it will be at her hand.
All right, guys. I've got an early morning, so I am going to hop off here.
Yeah, I think it's getting on close to midnight. This may be as good a time as any to call it. I appreciate everybody coming on and hanging out with me while I throw paint uselessly at these models. I'll hopefully put up some pictures once I get it together if I didn't totally screw it up and get people to see what they think. So, those of you that haven't, go vote. We have 15 minutes left to vote. We'll be cut off at midnight Eastern Standard Time. The votes will be compiled, and on Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting the award show. So definitely keep an eye out for that. But thank you guys for watching. I know we have had some viewers popping in and out during this. Hope we were at least entertaining, or at least gave you some background noise for your own painting. So anybody want to say any last words before I go ahead and kill it?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.